So we have
Gusto
Jack.
Dave.
Gusto Dave Jackson.
So Gusto's my nickname.
Gusto's
that
your
came
nickname.
from the Navy. I had a buddy, because I used to do a lot of crazy stuff. He called me Gusto. So as I started getting into comedy and things like that, I realized that a nickname is probably a good idea. You tend to remember those little nicknames a little more, like the comedian Ant, everybody, Hippie Man, everybody remembers those names. When it's George Wallace, you don't remember that so much. So with writing, that's a little odd. Most
Yes,
authors
most
are
people
kind
don't
of
do
snobby
this,
that way, but
we're doing it.
So, and
Janet the
Janet?
Kid.
Janet the Kid.
And the
you want-
Kid is a true nickname that I've had for 40-some years. My husband's older than I am and always called me the Kid. And so when Dave decided we should use his, I thought, well, okay, it's Janet the Kid Fogg.
if that clarifies.
I like it. I love it.
Or you can call me Bono.
So you guys wrote this book together.
Yes.
How did you guys meet in the first place?
We met through Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers. Dave was marketing director, and I was on the board of directors, and met through the various meetings and conference that we have every year, and it was great. We clicked, and then Dave invited me to co-write, actually not this book, but another one that's going to be coming out soon. And
I need a lot of help.
it was happily ever after, right?
That's right. I don't know what to say now. The camera's on. What do I do with my hands? So, that's correct. The writing journey is kind of a, you're into journalism a little bit, and writing's not as easy as, it's a tough game. And when you're writing novels and it takes this much time, you go through and you try to get agents, you try to get to meet editors. That's what Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers was good about. It was a conference where you'd meet agents and editors. Okay. So really big into that. And so you spend the years rubbing the elbows, getting all that, and then you get your book deals, and it's still tough. And so I found that writing with other authors, if you can groove together, I was very pleased with the progress. And I think we really snapped that way. It's really been great. And because to me, if you plot something, are you a Star Wars, are you a George Lucas fan?
Yeah, of course.
So I am a disciple of that as well, Steven Spielberg. The Indiana Jones franchise, big time. And these are really based heavily on that. If you've got your story down, you know where it's going to go, the bad guy, how they're going to get it and all that, I think that leaves a lot of room for creativity. And so we kind of just swap off. We know what the point of the next chapter is, or the scene. And so whatever she wants to do, as long as it fits to that confluence. Isn't that the name of a building over here?
Yeah, the confluence.
It's confluent to the story. It's creativity. So
And it
it's
also, we take 90-degree turns, because he does a chapter and then I do a chapter, and as he said, we know what the end product's supposed to be, but he doesn't know how I'm going to get there. So it's kind of exciting. And then we blend it all, revisions and all that.
It's like doing comedy improv. You work off this person. It really is. It feels like that a lot of
And
times.
Dave actually was going to mention, I'll preempt him, I'll steal your line. We had coffee and breakfast before coming over here.
You can't tell with me.
No, yeah, Dave's very calm. We already have a draft of book 2.
Oh, awesome.
We're working on. Pretty close to having the first draft clean. But we plotted book 3 this
3.
morning and figured out where it's going to be set, and go ahead.
I've got goosebumps. I have not
So this is
get
going
it.
to become a series, obviously.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes.
All right. So give us an overview of the series as a whole, for those who might not know.
Well, what a segue to talk about this
Cap that he's
apparel
wearing.
here.
Chapeau.
Yes, our hero is the daughter of a Civil War soldier, Union. And all she has to remember him by is his cap. So now I can take that off because it's messing up my hair. Huh?
It's very hot.
But rather, I think she has so many good ideas, and I don't even know where all our great ideas always come from. I can tell you she came up with a great ending for this. But going back to the Indiana Jones franchise, when I was coming up with this hero, originally the hero was going to be a guy, and he was going to have a 10-gallon hat and leather gloves and wear like a Levi jacket, signature clothing like Indy. And he was going to have a lasso, because that hasn't been done to death. And I was driving through Kansas, dreaming about this stuff. Driving is always a great way to create. And went by the sign that said the Annie Oakley Museum. And whoa! And what really struck me the most was Annie Oakley was real. and she could really shoot, and you had all these female heroes and outlaws in the Old West, and I thought, this is really doable. And so it became a girl, and then I thought I wanted her to have a signature look, and I just somewhere in there got the idea that her father was in the Civil War. This is all she had to remember by, and that's what she wears, not the typical cowboy hat.
So we're set in 1880s. Old West happens to be Manitou Springs, and she is wanting to compete in the man's world, so she wants to guide people through the Rockies, and ends up secretly working for the Secret Service in this first book. But the whole theme of the book is a young woman in a man's world kicking butt, and her overarching goal, though, quietly, is to find her missing father.
And she takes her lumps, by the way.
Yeah, she
That
does.
was very important to me. The opening scene takes place, she dukes it out with the train robbers, and more than one, and she controls the numbers very much, what are they, choreographed like a indie scene. But one guy nails her. But she finally, I mean, she thinks she grew up wrestling with a Cheyenne Indian, so we don't want to give away too much, but that's how she takes this guy out.
What brought you guys to the Western and Old West genre in the first place?
Well, yeah, go ahead,
How are
Dave.
you?
No, the Annie Oakley Museum obviously was part of it. I've always been a wannabe cowgirl. I shoot pretty well. I'm pretty good with shotgun, shot on trap team. Have a Colt 38 Special, chrome plated. It's a Viper.
So don't mess with her.
Don't mess with me. But part of it's creating a hero for young women and boys too. We've got two characters in the book: Wantoa, who's a Cheyenne that she grew up with, and then Southerner, Bo Slocum. But part of it's to create a hero that young adults, middle grade, can relate to, have some fun. Hopefully, and our reviews are stating this, it's nonstop action, but she also has soft moments. And we want to create a physical world that a girl can succeed in. She doesn't always have to be lace and high heels.
Yeah. I think we most definitely saw eye to eye on that immediately.
Yeah.
We just clicked so much on it, and I think she really felt it being, like I said, me and I grew up hunting and stuff like that, but she really is a cowgirl. And for me, it started out of Indiana Jones again. I looked at where George Lucas got Indy. Well, it was from serials. And there was the tough guy, the cliffhangers, and they fight, and there were guys in leather jackets and the fedoras. He got the wit from Zorro, by the way. So you probably know that, Avery, I don't know. But what else was cool in serials? Well, the cowboy genre was really big, Lone Ranger, Roy Rogers. So I looked really hard at those, and that's where I said the 10-gallon hat, this guy could be, and it just changed to that, and I'm so tickled. I never even looked back at a guy. That sounds odd.
And in this one, we've taken advantage of the steampunk genre. We have a mechanical engineer, and in future ones we've got, in the current one we're working on, there's a voodoo priest.
Big bad voodoo daddy.
Yeah. And Marie Laveau joins us in the book. We've tried to incorporate some true historic facts so people learn a little bit, or might be interested enough. We have fun facts noted in the back of the book, but they might be interested in researching a little bit more about Marie, for example, and take advantage of what really happened then. And Annie Oakley was a good role model because she really was one of the best shots in the West.
She embarrassed men.
She embarrassed men.
She was
so
so
does
good.
Our Annie, Misfortune Annie. She is the best shot, but she's not boastful or proud. She's successful in the man's world.
And I think another on the cuff here thing to point out about it is she doesn't want to show off, but she doesn't want to. Back in the Old West, a lot of cowboys looked at weapons as not weapons, but as tools. And she is not out to blast everybody.
Right.
I think that's very important, especially with it being a young adult. She rarely, I don't even know if we've written in there where she, you're gone kind of thing. And part of that is it'd be too easy. We want villains, and these can't solve the problem for her anyway, so she's got to outthink the villain.
She's got to be smart. She's got to be quick on her feet.
Yeah. So.
She's great with her lasso and with her hands, and yeah.
So how did you both get into writing in the first place?
Am I going first?
You go first.
Yeah.
Let's see. In 5th grade, I won my first writing award for an essay about George Washington. Yeah, I really did do that. I started writing novels when I was working full time. I would get up about 4 in the morning and write for a couple of hours in the morning before I went to work. And it was one of those where I love books, I love reading. I can do this. I can write the next great high adventure, Tolkien's got nothing on me. Well, he had a hell of a lot on me. And I finished my first draft of my first book and then took a class on how to get published and realized I didn't know very much at all. So it took 3 manuscript drafts before I had much success. Got involved in Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers, started rubbing elbows, really learning what the industry is all about. Learning how to tell a story. Dave is one of the best storytellers I know. He understands putting the story together, whether it's with, whether it's with doing a storyboard like in film, or just as we talk about a synopsis. And so that's what's also been fun for me. I've been published, but it's really fun bouncing ideas off of Dave, and we really haven't butt heads over issues. We've been successful at finding the right solution.
Well, it was that one time you gave me the black eye, but I got over
did.
it fast.
You were recovered well, yeah.
I should point out she picks up snakes too. She touched on something that made me think. I think she has more of a sophistication to the writing. I mean, I love playing with the words, but that's kind of an afterthought to me. There is more of a storyboarding side that I like about writing, and I don't know.
How'd you get started?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I scribbled little stories in high school and all that, but I never really looked at it as go be a writer.
Yeah.
My senior year, I wanted to be Steven Spielberg. Oh, go figure. And so then it starts dawning on you. You got to move to California and go to University of Southern California and do all that to really get there. And I had no money, so I was a music major, but still always dabbled in the arts and played with writing, but not anything as ambitious as a novel or a short story like once, I think. But moved out here in 2000, was working for Quest as a senior manager for their quality control in engineering. And there was a big tech crash and got laid off and was trying to figure out what I was going to do. Was looking for jobs, started writing a book. I always wanted to write a novel, so let me give that a shot. And same thing, you find out, wow, I need to learn a lot. You write it first, then you go find out what you need to do. And kept doing that and joined Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers. But I always liked the element of coming up with the plot, I think. It's a lot of work, I'm sure as you know, to put it on the page. So, and it takes, and you think you may know grammar. There's a lot of subtleties behind the curtain, just how you say a sentence to make it interesting, that takes years. And it's like doing comedy, stand-up. You don't just take a mic and tell a joke. You got to feel the room. There's so many things about it. So
we've talked, this is a series, and we've
Yes.
talked a lot about movies. Is this ever going to become a movie one day?
Well,
Why,
would that
yes.
be wonderful? We are optimistic that somebody might be interested, but this is far too early to learn whether that might be the case. The book just came out in October, and we hope to have at least a book a year, if not a book and a half a year. We might try for 8 or 9 months.
would you like to buy film rights?
Yeah, sure, sign me.
They're for sale.
Executive
$5.
producer or director, yeah.
We've both got some connections that way. I had a novel a couple of years ago that was, it got a pretty big film agent. It was funny because when my literary agent called me, I thought she's, right. And this guy really had some nice connections. I don't want to go on about it. But, they look at book sales and all that. It was a brand new book, didn't do too well. But I might talk to him later.
About
Who knows?
this? Sure.
Well, right now, my thing is to enjoy myself. I'm not really going after the, kind of thing. So.
You just got to enjoy yourself and what you love to do.
And
That's
exactly, and we're having
number one.
fun thinking of where Annie's going to go.
Yeah.
Where's Annie? Dave, when we were having coffee this morning, we were talking about this third book, and I thought the whole restaurant was going to stand up and look over at us because he just, was at the top of his voice talking about Teddy Roosevelt. He was so excited. And
I'm not a quiet talker.
so it's fun. It's just darn fun. And sure, we want to be successful, but we're having a good time.
Gotta love what you're doing first. You just got to.
Well, perfect. Thank you guys so much for coming on today.
Thanks.
I'm excited
Our
to see where Annie
pleasure.
goes.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.